This is the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 150. If it ain't got freaking Android Auto on it, recorded live Sunday, November 2nd, live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I'm Christopher Spera, the editor-in-chief here at the iTechGear.org. And you know, guys, we are dulcet toneless again tonight. Mr. Chris Gavula it will not be joining us, unfortunately. I hear he's had a tough week, and Randall isn't feeling well. So even though Randall said we could start, it may be that he will not be
wishing the
with
best
us.
For Randall.
Yeah, so we're wishing Randall all the best.
Pour one out for Randall.
That's it. But we do have the editor here at iTechGear.org and formerly the contributing writer at Gear Diary, and of course currently the host of the Linux Link Tech Show, Living in the Retro Arcade podcast, and Fitness for the Rest of Us. That's Brother Joe McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Well, had all the pipes cleaned out. You know, that test we all have to get once we get above 45 now.
You didn't go with you didn't crap in a box and send
nope.
it out.
Cologuard.
No, that doesn't work.
No, actually I'll never do that because the first colonoscopy I had, they did find polyps, but everything's normal, everything's fine. A little bit of diverticula, but nothing big, nothing to be concerned about.
Good. That's good.
So probably will record a fitness for the rest of us. Living in the Retro Arcade has been on an extended hiatus because time. So I'm gonna hopefully get back to do some holiday lists before too much longer.
Oh no, that'll be nice. That'll be good for the Retro Arcade. We'd love to have those.
We need to build ones for here too, but
yeah, we do
because the holidays are coming.
We actually have not done a holiday show here in a year or two, and this might be the year to do it. So
why not? Why not?
November 1st hit and Christmas crapped all over the shelves.
Man, it was out before Halloween was even here. Who the heck are you kidding? Have you been to a Home Depot? I mean, come on.
Oh boy.
I try to avoid that place because it's expensive.
Yeah, well, you know, and also I want to get through the intros here before we get into it. And the last but never, ever least, we've got the editor here at iTechGear, and of course the former co-owner of WUGNET Publications, Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. How are you, sir?
I'm great. I am. There's nothing like the smell of new silicon, especially if it's M5 silicon.
There you go. So now that's what. Why don't we go ahead and lead off with that?
I spent the most of this weekend configuring my new MacBook Pro M5, and I'll share some very early thoughts on it later.
Talk to me a little bit about this configuration, though. All right, what M5 did you get?
I can tell you later, but I'll tell you now. I just got I got about as much as you can get without special ordering. I got the M5, which is all that's available now.
Right.
That's all I need, really. And I got the terabyte SSD and 24 gigs of RAM.
Awesome. Absolutely.
But there are some interesting things about it, although there's not a lot of change in the device, but there's some specification changes, I will tell you that.
Okay, well, go ahead and talk to me about what's going on with this new MacBook Pro M5. And
I thought that was after
we're leading off with that because that's where all the fun is going.
Oh, I must not have looked at the right show notes.
No, you did. I just went ahead and
went ahead.
I called an audible.
Did.
Omaha.
That's why you're the editor. That's why you're the editor. We're the PRs.
And
that's what she said.
So go ahead there and talk to me about this M5. What you got and what's going on with it?
First up, noticeably, this is one fast machine. Full disclosure, I buy a new Mac about every year because of this. I never seem to notice a difference in speed from one year to another. It's kind of like watching your kids grow up. They never seem to change, but people who see them once every 2 or 3 years, they're amazed at oh my God, little Johnny's gotten big. Well, in some write speeds, that's WRITE speeds, The M5 MacBook gets close to doubling the M4 in very much in line with Apple's claim of 2 times. But in read speeds, the gains are way more. They're right at 3 times the performance. I mean,
Wow.
6323 megabytes per second versus 2000. That's significant.
That is a
I
significant
mean,
bump.
and I would not have thought, I would normally side with those who say, SSD speed improvements aren't that visible. They're just not, unless you're working with really big files, large language models, or processing huge amounts of video. But this is the first time I think I can honestly say I feel a difference. It takes this thing from the time I press the on button until it's ready. Take away the time for putting in my password, 7 seconds.
Shut up.
That is pretty smooth.
Shut
Well,
up. I mean,
seven, that
that's
maybe 7.5, but no more than 8.
wow.
That's not bad.
No,
I
that's
mean,
damn near
really.
close to instant on, you know?
And
Are
the
you
other
loading a
thing
lot of, you're not loading a lot of stuff then when you start out.
no, I was going to give that that disclosure as well. I don't have it fully loaded, but I do have, 40, 50 programs on it, I suppose, or apps. But,
Okay.
and I don't have them all on there, but I think it'll probably slow down to 10 or 12 by the time I do. But regardless, it's a super fast machine. It doesn't look or feel any different than an M4, except it's got an M5 in it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
that's
I was
interesting.
reminded I haven't had a Pro. My last two MacBooks were Airs, and I loved them. They're a good machine, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, Chris, the keyboard is one thing, way better keyboard in a Pro.
Yeah.
And the speakers are better, and the microphones are better, and the trackpad's bigger. Other
Yeah.
than that, it's probably about the same. Well, no, I take that back. The HDR display, of course, 1600 nits versus what, 500 or 600.
Yeah. Yep.
So there
But
is a
that's
difference
well,
with that.
nine to five Mac is saying much the same thing, is that the most under the radar change that the M5 MacBook Pro has is the SSD speed. It really brings it. So and you're giving that a huge harumph and
I
saying,
really am. Now,
you
that's
know,
something you can truly feel. But if you remember back, or I would think you would remember when Apple a couple of years ago they put out a 512 meg or gigabyte SSD that was a dog. It
yeah.
was just blazing
Yep, I
slow,
remember this. Yeah.
and they really took heat over that. I think they're trying to kind of make amends here, maybe. I don't know,
Well,
possibly.
it's nice to hear that they are really sort of
Hmm.
um putting in some I want to I don't want to say really pro level equipment or components into these things, but it's clear, that based, the M5 MacBook Pro, as you said, the read speeds go from 2031 megabytes per second to 6323 megabytes per second. That's 3 times, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything crazy here. They're just following the dollar. I was also looking at where Apple's money comes from.
Yeah.
Number one in sales, they derive the most of their income from an iPhone. The next comes from services.
Yep.
After that, Mac. And if you break Mac down, MacBook Pro and then MacBook Air garner the most, with
Yeah.
iMacs coming in last. In fact, iMacs are not selling all that well. They really
Yeah,
aren't.
no. I actually think that it, I
I don't
don't
think
think
they'll
that
get
the
rid of
iMacs
them.
are
They
are, are
won't.
going to be around much longer. I think the
Oh,
Mac Mini will
I do.
stay.
I do. I think they'll be around. That's the little old lady's machine. It really
Well,
is.
that's the little old lady's machine, but and maybe the one that you stick in the family room, or the one that you stick in the common room there for everybody to use if you have that kind of a setup.
Well,
Uh,
the beauty of doing a MacBook Pro, you can get a good display with it. Like I use the Apple Studio and I've had it since it came out. But
right.
when they come out with a new display, then you can get a new display. Or if you decide along the way you want a new Mac, you can get a new Mac and you still
Yeah.
have basically the same system. You don't have to buy it all over again.
No, no, you don't. You don't. Um, I will tell you though I think that the um the iMac is something that's probably going to fade quietly away. I don't
Might
know
be
how
right.
much, I don't know how much longer it's going to be around, but I think the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Airs are definitely here to stay. And if
Speaking
they
of
keep
something we
on,
thought was going to fade away,
yeah, and if you thought,
Yeah.
and with with internal features like these, with bumps in performance like this, if they do this again next time around, holy
wow.
shnikes, you
Yeah, you
know,
put this up with an M4 Pro, or I mean an M4 Max or Ultra or whatever they're
or
going to call
M5,
it.
M5 Pro or
M5, right.
M5 Ultra, yeah, no, or Max.
That's going
Uh,
to be a
Mm.
super fast machine.
Yeah, it'll be absolutely amazing. Um, we'll see what happens. The read speeds are three times better. The write speeds are two times better than the same um, notebook spec from last generation. So the M4s. That's amazing. That's amazing. So
Yeah, next week I'll tell you in the pick all about the TomTalk bag that I got to carry this thing in.
awesome. We're looking forward to that. But you know what else I think folks may be interested to hear is that last week we had talked a little bit about the iPhone Air, perhaps going the way of the Dodo a little earlier than perhaps most folks thought. And this time around, kids, maybe not so much. Maybe not so much. Because apparently lead times are near zero and production is not reducing, according to WCCF Tech. So what's
Well,
going on there, Larry?
the rumor mill magnates are now fighting over whether the iPhone production is truly out or maybe not. While the
Okay.
Air's lead time in China is nearly zero, I take my takeaway is totally different on that. I didn't read this; it's just my own thought process. I'm speculating that this isn't the death knell indicator for the device. I think that a lot of users in China simply want a full-fledged iPhone Pro with a better camera and all the stuff that comes with the Pro. I really believe that their demographic is more suited to that than even ours. So if this is the case, then the other half of the rumor mill is correct. They're saying that, we're going to have this thing. We know we're going to have it one more year. I mean, Apple's
Yeah.
already
No,
leaked that.
I do think we're going to have it one more year simply because I think this is the test run, I think, for the two halves of the folds that are supposed to come out
I
later on.
agree, but look back to the iPhone Mini, and
Yep.
I took this from these words I took from the manager at an Apple store
Okay.
that I've sort of made friends with. And back when the Mini was killed, 4 years they sold that thing, or three and a half, or something like that.
Yep.
And he said, we sell the hell out of this thing.
Yeah.
Why did they ever kill it? I mean,
You know, why did they ever kill it?
I don't know.
I don't know because I bought a mini for
Me too. I
a
have one.
13 mini for a while. Um
Yep.
and I bought it and I was using it simply because, the arthritis in my hands was getting to be just a little bit much and holding that
It was
wider.
a great one-handed phone.
It was
Man,
the holding the wider, larger um um uh uh 12 Pro Max at the time, and the size of the Pro Max really hasn't changed all that much since the 12. So it's the same. It was the same for the 12. It was the same for the 15, etc. So really, I thought, mm, mm,
you know what?
something smaller might be a better idea, and
If
that's why I
they
went with it.
ever made the Mini as thin as the iPhone Air,
Oh, oh my
man,
gosh.
that would sell. But
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
think they can do that. I just don't think they can.
I think that they can do it. I don't know. I think the price point for it may be a little bit high.
Yeah.
All right, because the Mini was always a more entry level device as opposed to the Pros, right? It was a smaller
Yeah.
version of the regular iPhone,
Yeah.
right?
If it would have had the features of the Pro, it might have
Oh
still been on
heck,
the shelves.
heck, shut up and take my money,
Yep. Yep.
doggone. So I don't know.
Me either.
I don't know. I
We'll take whatever Timmy gives us,
Well,
like always.
that is true. That is true. We will take whatever Timmy gives us, but you know what we're not going to do is take everything that GM gives us. Now we did talk about this a little bit last
Yeah.
week, but I'm mentioning it again this week for one major reason. The Mac World decided to cover this story, and they're really sort of hitting it home. And Joel, I want you to talk a little bit about your experience, because you wrote a letter and apparently you got a couple of calls with it, but I want to get to that in just a second.
Yeah.
Last week, we had quoted Mary Barra, the CEO of GM. She actually sat down with in an interview with The Verge, and she said that they have a very Jobsian approach to car infotainment systems in their newer cars, and they're coming up with their own sort of infotainment system. But the long story short of it all, and I know I feel this way, and I know everybody here on the show feels the same way, so I don't feel bad in speaking for everybody here. If it ain't got freaking Android Auto, and if it ain't got freaking CarPlay, then it's absolutely stupid
Yep.
to buy the car that doesn't have the infotainment system that you want or need, or that
It
will
fits your phone. It's that simple.
it fits your
I
phone.
don't have a GM phone. I mean,
No,
Well, and
no, and
the simple fact and what GM refuses to realize is that they're not software developers.
yep.
exactly,
They
and that's exactly what I was going to say.
We've
They
said
are
that for
not
5 years here on this
software
show.
developers. We've said that over and over and over
No
again.
car manufacturers are,
No,
with the minor exception to the software development they do to actually power the vehicle. Most of them do a fairly good job programming those
that's a
things. Yeah,
completely different
but it's a
type
completely
of
different
development. All right,
Correct.
with a
Yeah,
There's
completely
no
their
user
legal butt is
interface.
online for that. They know it has to
yeah,
work or they'll get sued.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People will die. All
I
right, people
mean,
could die.
I've had, you know, systems. My 2017 Traverse before I killed it, did not have Android Auto, and it was the most miserable experience of
Well, you
navigation
hate driving
system
that car,
ever.
don't you?
And I'll give them the one thing. At least it had Bluetooth. I mean, but that's just like, you know, they're worried about people getting on their phones. I mean, they literally said that in many articles talking about this over the last year. Not having Android Auto or CarPlay is going to make people fucking finger their phone. Sorry for dropping an F bomb, but
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
it's the
but you're
truth,
right. The problem is in that with that
right?
sentence, f bomb included, is that you're right. You
Yeah,
know,
it's like it's like you know, I've heard people say that if they buy another Chevy and it doesn't have it, um, that they'll just get the little arm and stick their phone on it. I'm just not going to buy a Chevy anymore, or any other GM vehicle unless they pull their heads out of their butts and realize this is what people want. People want that. It'd be different if GM never had it. Like, for example, Tesla never had it. Probably never will. Tesla's system generally doesn't suck from what I've seen of it.
No, because it still works with either an Android or an iPhone.
Right.
It's not
and
the
doesn't rely
infotainment
heavily
system.
on Bluetooth. It doesn't
Right.
rely
right.
heavily
Well,
on Bluetooth. All
it has
right.
its own. Yeah, it has 4G built into the Tesla, just like all the other vehicles have,
Right.
and it's a very good system. It's a very good system in every respect. In every review I've watched, I never drove one yet, But in every review I've watched about Tesla vehicles, nobody says a single thing about their nav system.
Nope.
Not one. They all freaking love it. You know, do they wish they had Android Auto and CarPlay? Maybe.
Maybe.
But
Well, I now that you mentioned that, I have a good friend that they have two. He and his wife both have Teslas.
yeah,
Hmm.
She has the newest one that she just upgraded her old one.
right,
They both are Apple people. They are both iPhone users. It doesn't bother them a bit that they don't have car.
exactly.
They've never said a word.
Yep.
Maybe if I asked them, they might have, but they've
Same thing
never.
with Rivian doesn't have it either,
No.
and probably never will. But
What is it?
their
What is
systems
it
don't
about?
suck.
Well, what is it about the e-car or the electric car companies that seem to have a better handle
The
on
e-car only one,
right, not the hybrids, right? But what
right?
is it about the e-car manufacturers, where their users aren't pitching a fit over
Because they never
the
had
lack
it,
of.
and that
Because they're so happy with the product. They don't
yep.
have time to worry about the infotainment system.
Hmm.
Is it that, or that the infotainment system that they have in that
It's
vehicle
sufficient.
doesn't suck?
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. It's perfectly sufficient.
yeah,
Yeah,
Have
see,
you
that's
ever turned on the radio in a Tesla and listened to it with the doors closed?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
yeah. I mean,
So
It's
yeah,
good.
I have to. I mean, probably the vehicle I was the most impressed with is the one I'd actually want to buy if I can actually afford it. Is the Model X, because the Model X is a beautiful vehicle. Um, but and heck, if somebody was gonna give me a Cybertruck tomorrow, yeah, I'd take it. You know,
No, I wouldn't. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I don't care. I like the ugliness, but that's just me.
Uh,
well,
But but I think the biggest thing that GM's fighting here is that they were one of the first to jump in with Android Auto. They were the one of the first that actually had it in almost every one of their vehicles, unlike Toyota, unlike Ford for a little bit, but they were the one of the first ones that jumped into it. I remember hopping in a rental car in 2017 and it had an Android Auto, and I was just pleased as punch with it. Loved it,
well,
you know. And most rental car companies have said, I've seen people talk about rental car companies and experiences with them, and they say most of their people coming up to pick their cars, they say, does it have Android Auto?
or CarPlay.
Because they
Yeah,
said or CarPlay, and they said if it don't have that, I don't want that car.
yeah.
So then they
if
go
you
to another
guys
car that has
remember
it.
when CarPlay first came around, the Fords all had Microsoft in them before
Microsoft
there was
Sync.
anything else.
Yes, they did.
And they
It was
tried to
awful.
keep that a little longer than they should have, and their owners or their buyers said, nope, CarPlay's out, Android Auto is out. We want that in our car.
Yep.
And Ford
And
said, no problem. But
ultimately, this boils down to but here's the thing too. GM already has a revenue stream through OnStar. They have partial ownership of OnStar. Um, uh, the rest of it's through Hughes, I think, if I remember right. At least it used to be. But so they already have that revenue stream, but they want to extend that out to their nav system and really want to bring back to what they used to have, where people used to pay. Back in the day, you used to pay for a CD to get updated maps. They don't realize that nobody wants to do that anymore. Even though now the odds of them like shipping you a CD is probably not going to happen. They're just going to do an online update, just like our phones do. But the thing is they're always going to be behind Google Maps. They're always going to be behind Apple Maps. Those are instantly up to date. If they make a change, it's instantly there. There's no change required to the car's
nope.
automotive software whatsoever. When a new version of Google Maps comes out, it's on your phone. Gets screen mirrored to your system, and it works just great. Uh, but obviously they don't care about like the super version, the Ultra CarPlay that many vehicles are starting to
may
look
not
at
get off the
adding.
ground.
It may not. It may
That's
not, but
true too
but
on
there are
that.
some things that I want to go ahead though and just review about the Macworld is calling out some specifics
Right.
that Mary Barra made that really sort of qualify this whole Jobsian comparison. The removal of the floppy disk drive as well as the DVD drive. Nobody liked those, even though that their Apple support forums and Facebook complaints were all over the place. And Jobs finally said, look, flash storage is really the future. You guys need to get on board with that. And while the masses cried out, eventually it did quiet down. And part of that was, I think, because we didn't have much choice. I went to USB-C kicking and screaming. Why? Because USB-A was so bloody prevalent.
Right.
All right. For Apple to go to USB-C and basically USB-C only after their 2015 Mac or 2017 MacBooks stopped carrying the ports, it was, just absolutely bananas. All right, trying to find a USB-C device or any of those adapters
Well,
that
Chris,
go from A to C.
think back when you were in school. I mean, how many times did you hear the phrase or something similar to invoked change will pass? And when we force something on people, people all whine, but then they get over it. If they don't have a choice, if they don't have a
they do.
choice.
Of course, they get over it. Given time,
But now they have a
everybody will
choice.
get
It's
used to
called Ford
change.
or somebody else. The choice.
Yep. Or
It's just
Toyota
something
or
out of
anybody
Toyota
that-
when
or
left,
whatever.
yes, but when left with no choice, what do you have? You either accept
Nothing.
it or you don't. Do you leave the
That
product behind, or
that's what
you
I'm
just
saying. That's
shut
what I'm
up?
saying.
If this bold move by GM thinks it's gonna get them new sales, it ain't.
No, I don't think it will either.
It's gonna lose them more sales than it's gonna get them new sales.
And
Well,
I don't think it's just the techno nerds. It's the average Joe.
Yep.
You're taking
Yeah.
away my, wait a minute, you're taking away my what? No.
Yeah, see, and here's the thing that I think, and I always go back to this comparison because they went to this kicking and screaming. Toyota did not, was vastly against the adoption of CarPlay. Part of it was they didn't want to pay the royalties to Apple. All right. The other part was they truly thought that they could do a better job. All right.
Mhm.
And they finally acquiesced. Why? Because they started losing sales because people went to other car manufacturers largely because they had the infotainment systems that those customers wanted.
This
All
is
right.
all about the money, Chris. They want that, whether it's 10 or 15 or $20 a month, they want that because the revenue stream off of every
Well,
month payment is
now, if you're
big.
talking about some level of subscription that
That's what
GM is
they
going to
said they're
start
going to
charging,
charge.
I think that's absolutely ridiculous. What are you going to, and again, Tesla does the same thing for some of their more advanced engine features, ludicrous mode and whatnot, right? You want to go ahead and get the better performance, well, then you've got to pay a monthly fee.
But what is GM going to do after a couple of years when they invoke this thing? And maybe not even a couple of years. You sit down to buy the car, you're with your salesman, he's writing this thing up, you got it all done, and you're in there to sign the paperwork, and the guy in the finance office says, oh, and that'll be $29.95 a month also that you have to pay or your radio don't work. And a lot of people are going to not pull the trigger. I really think they will. Let's say, wait a minute, how much? Why? To play my radio?
You know what? I've got it on my phone. I'll stick it in the cup holder. It'll echo out. I'll be fine. Thanks.
Yeah.
See you.
See you down the road. I think it'll take something like that to stop her.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah. I think I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to leave that right there.
Right where it is.
Right where it is. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move us into our mobile Linux segment. leading off here with a story that really just kind of bothers me. This has been, I've seen this trend coming for a while, and I think partly it is a fad, partly it is a misunderstanding of what the technology can do. But Amazon is laying off 31,000 workers. Was it GM that laid off some, and there were some other companies, other big companies that laid off
A
thousands of workers.
lot of companies are, Chris, and we're just not hearing it like these companies.
Yeah. Part of it, I think, is because, well, the companies are saying, well, AI is replacing these, it's going to replace all these jobs. And I think one of the things that's going to happen is there are other jobs that are going to be created for AI maintenance or for other support areas.
Yeah, just like we started getting social media managers. Now we're going
Right.
to have AI directors and managers.
AI directors
Yeah.
or large language
It'll
model
happen.
directors
It'll
or data
happen.
directors of some types, right? It's going to create those kinds of jobs. The
But how
workforce is
many
going
of
to have
them
to
will it
re-educate
really
itself.
create?
Yeah. The workforce is going to have to re-educate itself, and it'll come back to parity. But I think part of that, though, is a misunderstanding of what AI can do and what AI will do. I think it's a real big fad right now. I think everybody out there, a lot of CEOs are jumping on this, and they like the savings or the potential savings that they're going to get. And I know for a fact that shareholders like all that potential savings.
Of course.
It increases their dividends at the end of the fiscal year that they get to
You
go
know
ahead.
where you notice the true need for AI is in the nonprofit space, because there they don't depend on AI to either replace jobs or make them money. So what we're doing, and I'm on the board of two nonprofits, but what we're doing with the one that backs a real business
Yeah.
is we're pushing AI to help people do their jobs better. And that's
Yeah.
it. Stop right there. That's all it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Doesn't replace anybody at all.
Well, and AI nowadays is getting to be used for anything that can remotely probably replace a worker. There are people that will call those screens sitting out in front of the McDonald's where you can go walk up and punch your order in.
Kiosks, yeah.
AI,
Yeah.
which they're not. That's not AI. And
No,
then
that's a simple
it's a
kiosk.
buzzword too. Like, for example, I got these hand warmers, which we talked about in the pre-show. And the listing on Amazon says they're AI hand warmers, and I'm like, there's no AI in there.
And
There's
they're
probably not
claiming
even a
AI
chip
is
in it.
built into golf clubs now.
Yeah,
Come on.
I mean, and then rice cookers and all this stuff. It's a buzzword now, and AI itself, everyone wants to, and that other coin too. Everyone wants to blame AI for the rapid expansions of data centers. We were kind of talking about that earlier today in email, and and the reality is there is not a single business,
Yeah.
mom and pop or corporate or big box, that doesn't have digital infrastructure. Not a single one.
You take a
If you
credit
take-
card,
Yeah.
you do it.
You take a credit card, you're using cloud infrastructure and digital infrastructure.
Right.
The mom and pop farmers market that I got some stuff at a few weeks ago, they took my debit card, no problem. So they're using digital infrastructure. Okay.
Yeah. Every place. My church today.
Yes.
We had Dr. Ham from the
No,
the
even
Noah's
if-
Ark
yeah.
the Noah's Ark thing
Noah's Ark thing.
down in
Yep.
Kentucky, right? And the Creation Museum and they've got Square. They're selling books and materials afterwards. They've got Square and you just,
every church website, online gifting. Come on.
absolutely.
And now I'm not going to say that AI is not causing data centers to explode in growth. It
Sure.
kind of is.
I'm
All
sure.
right. But the growth is also going to have, if there was no AI tomorrow, there's still going to be growth in data centers. It's just a fact. All right. Because the more and more.
if you pull the AI, if you pull AI out of the equation, all right, there's
It'll slow
still a lot
down.
that's going on in terms of online data. All
And
right.
cloud infrastructure and all
Right.
that stuff.
Right.
I mean, we had speaking of cloud infrastructure, we had Microsoft
Yeah,
with an
well, we'll
issue
get
with
to
the
that.
front
We'll get
end.
to that later on.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
we got to
yeah,
spin the
yeah.
wheel for that. But
But yeah,
you know, but doggone, there are a couple things here that I do want to go ahead and mention. Beth Galetti, senior executive at the at Amazon, broke the news to employees in a message on Tuesday, saying the reductions we're sharing today are a continuation of this work to get even stronger by further reducing bureaucracy, removing layers, and shifting resources to ensure we're investing in our biggest bets and what matters most to our customers' current and future needs, which is effectively that 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. delivery the next
right,
morning, right?
right,
Um, uh, though she didn't exactly say that. But lots of folks were wondering, why are you laying off people and why are you laying off so many people when the company is doing so well? All right.
right.
Um, it's interesting. Yes, they are blaming AI for some of this. And as I said, I think they're most folks are using that as it's an easy scapegoat. It's an easy out. Um, but yeah, it's something that this is these jobs are going to end up being replaced. It's just a matter of time. All right, those new jobs and those new job categories have not been created yet. They will, I believe, within the next 2 to 5 years, and we'll see what happens then. But
I agree.
yeah. But speaking of, and as Joel, you were saying, speaking of cloud
Yes,
infrastructure, there was a massive Azure
yes, there
outage,
was.
causing Microsoft 365 and Xbox to fall to the wayside. Tell me a little bit about that, Joel. What were you going to say?
So yeah, so basically this affected their Azure front door, which is probably most commonly used, just like Okta is used to sign in applications
Mm-hmm.
that are they don't even have to be hosted on Azure in order for them to use that. Like um, organizations like colleges and companies
Mm-hmm.
can basically use Azure Front Door as basically a extension of their Active Directory domain
Sure.
to the cloud. So the cloud version of it's available, and it caches that AD data. That impacted many of my clients that I work with on a daily basis that day,
Yeah.
where if you were signed, the thing, what the way it worked was is the way it, well, for most of our users, we actually don't think we ever got a single ticket from our clients,
Well, that's good.
because I think most of that was because they also used it for their own applications, and they knew that it
That it
wasn't
was down and
it
out. Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
us.
Well, this
Right.
this
Not to
actually
mention the
happened.
fact is once you got in, if you got in once, because it was intermittent,
Sure.
once you got in, the connection to our application was just fine, and it would
Yeah.
just continue to work.
Right.
But it's just getting in that was the problem.
That was the problem. Yeah. So this
Yeah.
this actually happened on Wednesday the 29th,
hmm
and as you said, it was sort of up and down, and it affected a number of different users.
hmm
Um, Down Detector showed the problem surfaced earlier in the morning, but also around noonish, just before noon. By 5:30 that evening, Microsoft had reported that they initiated the deployment of their last known good configuration, and it's been at that point it had been completed and had sort of restored everything um, to a state of happy. But the problems sort of lingered on throughout the day. And they continue to say as recovery progresses, some requests may still land on unhealthy nodes, resulting in intermittent failures or reduced availability until more nodes are fully restored. So, and by they had expected complete recovery to happen by about 7:30, and from what I understand, it took a little bit longer, but they were back to normal by I think 8:05 p.m. Eastern time.
That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That we had initially when we first started getting alerts because my team where the catchers met.
Yeah.
But we started getting alerts, and the first thing we thought was, "Oh, there's something going on with Datadog because it's more than one client, you know."
Right.
And most of us were able to just access the URL, and it would work just fine. But then I and then many others said, "Wait a minute, I just tried it again, and it's not working. So what the hell's going on here?" So
Yeah, that's that intermittent
looking.
status.
Yep, we started looking at that. So. And discovered the outage on Down Detector and all that stuff. So it was Microsoft 365, Azure, Copilot, Entra, which that's what impacted most of us was the Entra portions.
The Entra,
the Microsoft Store, which who uses that anymore?
I do, but that's personal accounts, you know.
Yeah,
Not
Microsoft
not
Teams,
corporate.
big one, Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Millions of preteens were like, anyway, and Xbox. So,
Yep.
not good.
No.
And the second cloud failure in as many weeks.
Yeah.
So,
because that happened to them last week, I think as well.
no, it was AWS the week before.
Yeah.
But yeah, USC specifically.
That's right. That's right.
Which
that
was a
Amazon.
bigger. I will say that was probably a bigger deal than this was, but it still was. This still was a rather big deal for Microsoft.
Yeah. So, Larry, you had a very interesting experience this week, from what I understand, related to AI browsers and ChatGPT Atlas. What's going on with this?
Well, let's go back before that, but to
Last
last
week.
week when Joel mentioned, and he was right. Why do we need AI browsers? Okay,
Mhm.
so I got to thinking, why do we need one? I'm going to go take one for a drive. It prompted me to do a little research, and I chose to try OpenAI's Atlas browser because I have a ChatGPT subscription that I do use a lot.
Mhm.
Well, spoiler alert, when I pulled that thing back into the dealership lot, I told the salesman it just wasn't for me. Sorry.
Right.
But with that said, when AI first hit, I and maybe some of you guys too, we didn't jump on the bandwagon day one with AI, but now I can't live without my AI subscription. So I just still think though there's something different with an AI browser, primarily, like Joel said, why do we need this built into the browser? I see a use case for both. But the minute I type an AI query into that browser, it becomes a browser, not I'm sorry, the
An AI
browser becomes
browser.
nothing but an AI bot.
Yeah.
That's what. So my take is that this boils down to money. People are giving them $20 a month, but that's peanuts to them. What they want is they're looking at the bigger carrot, that advertising carrot that goes
Yeah.
along with the browser.
Yeah.
When you type something into ChatGPT and it's a paid subscription, you're not bombarded with Google ads the next day. And there's nothing in there but the whatever your query's about, that's it. But I don't think that $20 a month is enough for them. They want the billions, not the millions. So they're trying to figure out a way to make this part of the browser so the browser subsidizes their income with ads. That's my take.
You know, I hear you. I hear you. And I can see, where, the AI browser may try to take advantage of, as opposed to the AI tool in a browser. All right, I'm paying for that AI tool. I'm paying for Chat GPT Pro. I don't want ads in my GPT Pro. Um, the last thing that I want is to have that damn thing right in the middle of whatever it is that I'm trying to do, try to hawk me something from a third party. It's the last thing I need. So I can understand why it wouldn't necessarily show there, but doggone. Um, I still don't exactly get it. I know they're after the money, but you think it's just them trying to get their cut of the advertising pie?
I don't know exactly what their thought process is, obviously, but Chris, let me ask you this. You use AI as much, if not more than I do, and I use it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So when I put something into the browser or a Google search, something totally different is going through my head than if I ask AI to build me an image with the following specs or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or even the questions that I ask AI have nothing to do with a standard Google search. I mean, they're two different products to me.
See,
How about you?
and I don't see it that way.
Okay,
It's the same product to me. All right. It's the same. I could, from a browser perspective, with AI built into the search engine. All right. If I've got a question, just a general question, about this, that, or the other thing, I know I'll get an AI based answer,
oh, you get, I mean, that is true.
Copilot
No matter what I
or
ask
whatever.
AI, I'll get an answer. But what
Yeah.
I ask a browser, I won't get the same answer that I would from AI. No way. But the
Well,
vice
from
versa.
ChatGPT. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
The vice versa, it's true. No matter what you ask a browser, you can
Is it
get the answer from
all
ChatGPT.
right? Well, let me,
Why both? Why
is it,
both? That's my question.
are they trying to get you are they trying to break the subscription model out of just one specific site and get you to chase after that subscription, get everybody to chase after the subscription for everything?
Well, the minute you get into to Atlas, then they want to bump you up to the paid Atlas version.
Yeah.
I
See?
mean, people have a breaking point. I mean, I have a lot of subscriptions, and I
Yeah.
know you guys too. But
Yeah.
there's a point that we don't need anymore. And there's a lot of free stuff out there that'll suffice.
I agree. I agree. In fact, I'm trying to get rid
I'm
of a
I'm
lot of the
I'm coming
subscriptions
down
that
off a
I've
lot of
got.
mine. Yep.
I need to ratchet back. I really just do, on the amount of subscriptions that I've got
Yeah, I
right
don't have
now.
nearly what I had before. We don't have Apple One anymore. Don't need it. And
You know, um, we'll see, we'll see. And
I think it's still unanswered questions, what it is. AI.
yeah, yeah. And so I don't know. Maybe if Mr. Gavula were here, he'd have something insightful to say. But again, without the dulcet tones, what do we know? You
We're
know,
lost without him.
yeah. Well, maybe we'll get when he comes back. We'll revisit this. There is one more thing that I want to go ahead and I want to touch on before we actually go ahead and cut away for the break. GM is also cutting jobs. They're cutting jobs in three different states: Michigan, Tennessee, and Ohio. Joel, what's going on here?
Yep. Well, apparently this is all because of lackluster EV sales, I believe it is.
Hmm.
So
Electric
they're,
vehicle sales.
yeah.
Okay.
So they're realigning your EV capacity because nobody's buying them, essentially. Uh, this is in response to slower near-term EV adoption and an evolving regulatory environment. General Motors is realigning its EV capacity, the company said. Despite these changes, remains committed to our U.S. manufacturing footprint. We believe our investments and dedication to flexible operations will make GM more resilient and capable of leading through change. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So,
Well.
this is particularly with their Ultium cells that are being used in their EVs. So it's also affecting the Spring Hill plant, which is the former Saturn plant
Yep.
in
That's the one in
Tennessee.
Spring Hill, Tennessee. Yeah.
Yep, and then in the Warren, Ohio, which I didn't even know they still had a presence in Ohio. I thought that once they shut Lordstown down up by Akron that they were gone. But
Yeah.
um, so,
Yeah, this is
but
partially because the current administration has rescinded a $7,500 tax credit.
yeah,
Um,
right.
I don't know that you can hang the entire um, uh, layoff on
I don't think you can.
$7,500 uh, per buyer, but I'm just saying. So
Right.
anyway, well, I feel for those folks.
I do too.
There's a lot of folks that are being hit by layoffs. And again, at times when you would think that companies would not be needing to initiate layoffs, but they are anyway.
Yep.
So I think the next 3 to 5 years are going to be a very interesting time for folks to actually think about, what they're doing with jobs and what companies are going to end up doing. I know a lot of older workers are going to have problems re-educating themselves. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move us to our Windows segment, but I'm going to do that right after this brief message. Hi. This is Christopher Spera from iTechGear.org. I wanted to talk with you today about becoming a contributing donor to the site. iTechGear.org has been around for almost 15 years. In fact, our anniversary is just around the corner on January 10th, 2025. 15 years. Where has the time gone? I mean, I've never really asked for any kind of donations for the site. It's always been about me providing value to you, a site visitor or podcast listener. The iTechGear Weekly is now in its 4th year of production, and Chris G, Joel, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin and I are having a really great time providing you with some of the best free tech talk available from time-tested original internet writers, testers, site founders, and professional writers and editors on the internet. I truly believe that our crew has some of the best and most qualified pundits and commentators on the internet today. And we're not hobbled by any kind of sponsorship or affiliated relationship or other time-bought posts. It all comes from the heart. Unfortunately, times are kind of tough. And since the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020 to 2023, yes, almost 3 full years, times have become increasingly difficult for small independent sites like iTechGear.org to stay afloat. I normally do this with a portion of the salary I make from the day job, but with the IT market so tight right now, it's really difficult sometimes for many to make normal household ends meet, let alone fund a site like iTechGear that might decide to bring in a buck or two. It ain't easy. If you find any of our content on iTechGear or from ITGW to be of any value at all, I would seriously appreciate you donating as little as just $1 to the cause. While we do have a Patreon site, it's hard to keep one website up, let alone 2. And since it's really only me doing the work, our Patreon site hasn't really helped us at all. If you can make a donation to the site or to the show of any amount, I'd be forever grateful. All donations will go to site maintenance, hosting, podcast hosting, and everything iTechGear related. Donations can be made to my PayPal account at chris@itechgear.org. Make a donation. We'll thank you immediately on the next ITGW episode and voice our gratitude. I want to thank you. We appreciate your consideration, time, and attention. Now let's get back to the latest iTechGear Weekly episode. And welcome back to the iTechGear Weekly episode number 150. If it ain't got freaking Android Auto on it. All right, as I said, I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to move us to our Windows segment. And before we get into some of the better stories, there's one story that I want to hit pretty quick. Um, the and Larry, I think this one might affect you. It may affect other folks who want to try to get Windows 11 on their Windows 10 compatible computer. There were some changes to what would and what would be required or would not be required to run Windows 11 on, when it came out. That was one of the biggest ones was the support for secure boot as well as a T2 chip. Um, NeoWin, so it must be true. NeoWin is reporting
Uh-huh.
that uh, if you're using one of those thingies to go ahead and get unofficial thingies to get past some of the uh, system requirements, you may have some problems. Um, One app called FlyOOB or FlyOOBE out of box experience, which allows users to bypass Windows 11 system requirements on unsupported PCs. Um, it allows you to customize your Windows experience or your Windows 11 features by debloating the operating system and making it feel a little bit lighter, and that will, help a lower spec PC to actually run the operating system. Um, there is a new alert that's out from the actual developer of the app. Apparently, the app has hit an unofficial mirror, and they're saying don't download it from flyoobe.net. They're an unofficial mirror, and it may host tampered or malicious builds. And it has no affiliation with their official page. All right. The actual application in question here is UniGet UI. So if you're a user of UniGet UI, don't go and get it from FlyOOBE. So you may be setting yourself up for a malware infection. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't, I mean, we offer people a choice. First of all, we have a lot of folks in this big club that I'm still involved with. That's
Yeah.
1,400 people. And they still are whining about this. And even though we've passed the date, I've got it all over our website. We offer them two things. One, either go to Windows 11,
Mm-hmm.
or if you're hell bent to stick with your old 20-year-old PC that you
Mm-hmm.
just, you're living in a $2 million home and you're whining about a $500 Costco upgrade.
Yep.
And there are those that do that a
I
lot
wouldn't
of
doubt
them.
it. I
I'm
wouldn't doubt it.
serious, and maybe that's why they have the $2 million home. I don't know,
Might
but
be.
we offer them a free Linux update. We pretty much so far have been putting Mint on the machine
Mm-hmm.
and giving them a few URLs to go learn on their own, but we're not going to hold their hand through it. We
Mm-hmm.
will do the conversion of the old machine, which doesn't take that long, and kind of give them 20 minutes of pep talk as they walk out the door with it.
Sure.
We've actually had about 10 or 11 people take us up on that, but for the most part, they're going to buy new PCs. They are.
And that's kind of what
They,
I thought, that most folks would do. That one PC that they've got that might be, like you said, 10 years or older. It's probably it's done its bit for King and Country, and it
Mm-hmm.
is probably,
we're thinking about moving to Linux when we give these things away, though.
you
I
know,
think if we do that, it'll
yeah,
make them stick with it longer because it looks the same.
it does. It does have
It
a
really,
similar.
really looks good.
It does. It does. Winix is a really, really Windows similar Linux distribution. I've been playing with it, and I really like it. So if you're wanting a something that's Linux that looks like Windows, Winix is probably your best bet. You
I
want something that looks a little
I
bit
haven't
different. There are
talked
other
with the
things that are
guys
out
that are
there.
doing this yet, but the reason they're balking at putting Linux on, there are supposedly some little legal issues or some problems. I don't know. I have no idea what they are until I talk with somebody over there, but
It
there's
might be the
something that
UI
they don't
components.
like about it.
It might be the
They like
UI
it.
components. You know,
It's some legality. I don't know.
right? It might be some of the UI components. It might look too much like
I
Windows
think,
11.
yeah, I think there are people at Microsoft are looking at it with a jaundiced eye right now.
Yeah, and that might be the case. But to be very very honest, kids, as far as I'm concerned, get over it.
That's right. I agree.
you know, because they aren't making money from this. They really aren't. Yes, they do
No.
offer a $35 Power Toys or Power Tools um, upgrade that you can get, but you don't have to have that to use the operating system, to use that version of Linux. You just don't. It's not
And so,
necessary. It's
some
not
users
required.
here are actually paying that stupid whatever they're charging for the ESU for just a one person thing. I just don't get that. Why you would pay even $30
It's 30
to
bucks
use
for a year.
a
It's 30 bucks
year,
a year for three, over and it'll hit you for 30 bucks a year for the next 3 years. So it costs you
but they're
90
all
bucks.
using
So
5, 6, 10-year-old Windows machines.
get a new one, kids.
They're
It's done its
old.
bit.
Get over it. Get a new one.
It's
Treat
done its bit for
yourself.
king and country, or move to Linux and don't complain.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're going to get much the same experience, especially if you move to either Anduin OS or Winix, Winix especially. But either one will, it looks and works like Windows, so you'll be just fine. But yeah.
Yep.
So watch what you're doing if you're trying to get Windows 11 on it and it's not completely kosher. Kid, you might be hitting shooting yourself in the foot. In that case, try Linux. If Linux is not where you want to go and you're really really against it, you may be looking at a new PC. So, but kids, it's that time again. It's another happy edition of the Microsoft Mistake-a-thon.
I
Joel?
love it.
Oh, kids, these are the good ones this week. We've got some wonderful stories, and here they are. Spin that big wheel. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
This beauty. This first one is a real beaut. I love this one.
Got all three of them this week, don't we?
Oh man,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's three of them this week, but this one I think is it really sort of takes the cake.
So apparently,
There's a new bug
yeah.
out that if you run Task Manager and you try to kill it, it doesn't die.
Well, close it when you try
Well,
to
now,
close
does
it with
Task
the X
Manager
button.
itself, or is it the display or what?
No,
The
Task Manager
Task
it's the
Manager.
process that doesn't die. It sort
Right.
of
Okay.
duplicates the
Yeah.
process.
Yep.
All right.
So it sticks around when you close the X, and the only way to actually get it to truly close is to kill it with itself.
You've got to go ahead and give it that
Look for the
what
taskman.exe and hit
Yep.
end task, and bye bye.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Gotta
and
go ahead
and
give it the
technically,
old suicide shot.
actually, this was first opened on October 16th and is now resolved as of October 28th.
Yeah,
With build
but
12
the
days.
fact
it
that
took
that
them.
this thing was even out there to
Right.
begin with, again, I question what the heck is going on over at Microsoft and their QA department, and this is one of the reasons why I
They
think
don't
that,
have one.
No, they
don't really
do.
have one. I
They
mean,
do.
well, They don't have
do.
one like they used to.
No, not like they used to. This is part of the reason why I think AI is not going to do it for things like programming and testing. You need a human there to figure out exactly what's going on. Things are going to get missed.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just saying. But when you hit an X, a red X on a window to go ahead and close it in the upper right corner, that nice big red X, or red square with the white X in it, the task should die. And unfortunately, it doesn't. You've actually, like you said, Joel, you've got to go and bring Task Manager back up and then use it
Yeah.
to shoot itself in its foot and get rid of it. So I don't.
For you Apple folks out there, this would be like trying to kill a task and activity monitor, and it
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But now, with that said, there are some poorly engineered software applications that refuse to kill even in activity monitor on a Mac. They
Oh, on a
just
Mac,
keep
yes. There's things that.
regenerating.
Yes. Yes.
Infuriates,
Yep.
but it's the app's fault, and it's Apple's fault for letting those apps into the App Store, I
Yep.
think.
And in this case, this is Microsoft's own app, which is, I think, is one of the
Yeah.
reasons why it kind of got it. It made it a perfect candidate for the Mistake-a-thon this week. But
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So the other one, the other thing here that's going on this week is Microsoft is making Windows updates named easier to understand. And again, this one also kind of just, what in the world? Why aren't they easy to understand in the first place? You know, instead of having something here that says something to the effect of 2025-10 cumulative update for Windows 11 version 25H2 for x64 based systems, KB 5066835, 26200.6899.
Dear
Is,
Microsoft,
you
why don't
know,
you fix the process rather than the name? Because it's the update that's broken more than the name.
it's being replaced by something slightly simpler, security update, and then it gives the KB number and the Windows version, which again doesn't say shit to me. Could you, I thought the 2510 cumulative update for Windows 11 version 25H2 was enough. All right, I know then it's a monthly update for 25H2. All right, you could even just say that monthly update for Windows 11 version 25H2. How about that?
That'd be too easy.
You know, um, I don't understand why. First of all, this is news. Okay, I don't understand why this is news. Number one, number two, I don't understand why it took so long. I mean, it's Microsoft has been issuing Windows updates since Windows 95, kids, and they've had these ugly long ass names since 1995. All right. Why is it now all of a sudden, somebody, was washing their hands in a restroom and said, I've got it. Eureka. We'll simplify the names. And it's still, you don't even tell me what the hell it is. All right. I mean, you're moving to security update from monthly cumulative update for Windows 11 25H2. You're just going to security update.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this last one I think is a beaut. This last one is just absolutely fabulous. Microsoft is finally admitting that they cannot fix driver issues. Well, no shit.
Would that be the same driver
specific
issues that started in Windows 3.1?
Right. The specific error, which is 0x800-70103, which they also mentioned another error on down the thing. It basically, it's an error comes up when you try and install the same version of the driver again, I believe.
That's already
So
installed, right? If
it's
you
already
try to
installed.
install a version of a driver that's already installed, you get 0x800F0983.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And it's because it's already there.
Yep.
All right. Um, but what really sort of blows my mind, um, if it's an error that you can't fix, what the hell do you do?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, what if you paid, you paid $75,000 for a new car and it started doing something that was wrong or
yeah,
bad or something, and you took it to the dealership and they
yeah.
said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't fix that.
Well,
Just live
here you
with
go.
it."
Here are the keys. I'd like my money back, please.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not going to happen at either place, but this is insane.
Yep.
Seemingly small, but not right.
No, not at all. And I don't understand. I don't understand why, you know, Microsoft says it's taking steps to fix this 800-70103 error, but it can't promise a full fix.
Mm-hmm.
Taking driver installation errors in Windows Update has about 1,000 upvotes, and now 1,000 might not seem like a huge number, but remember, that's users rarely that uses really open feedback hub at all. And so for 1,000 folks to go ahead and finally get frustrated and say this is a problem, that says something. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why they say they can't fix it. Um, and I mean, because I mean, how many billions of dollars did they make this past quarter? I
Yeah, I
mean, they're a
don't
Oh
$4
know.
trillion
no.
dollar plus company, right?
Oh yeah.
All
Mm,
right. With Nvidia being the first one to hit 5 trillion. All right. But Microsoft hit 4 before Apple did. All right. Um, and with a market cap of $4 trillion, you would think that they have enough cash to go and throw enough people at this to solve this particular freaking problem, and they can't or won't do it.
Would, but could and won't.
I don't understand.
This is why
yeah.
we have the wheel.
This is why we have the wheel. Yes, this is very, very true.
That's what she said.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. um,
Oh man, I tell you
Uh,
what, that button has never had a more appropriate time to be pressed than right then.
no. No.
So there you go. Hey, you know what I'm going to do, kids? I'm going to move us to our tip of the week segment. And before we actually get to the actual tip, I want to go ahead and remind everybody, iTechGear was founded with the intent of making technology easier for everyone to use and understand. And this team specifically has dedicated their writing careers to that specific purpose. And every week we're going to have a tip of the week. We're going to feature a new computing tip authored by one of our experienced editors. And if you have questions, concerns, comments, or yay, dare I say, ideas, you can send those on over to tips@itechgear.org. And if we use your suggestion on the air, we're going to give you your 15 seconds worth of fame. And I'm especially excited about this week's tip. And do you know why, Joel?
No.
Larry wrote it. That's why.
Ah.
it's something he didn't have to do.
It's
You
not
dropping
have
a
to do it
hint
this
or
week.
something?
So, what is
That's
it, Larry?
funny. Hey, this week's tip is all about something that really does touch more people than you think. And I'll tell you about the numbers in a moment, but it's all about using Gmail, a Gmail account with the Apple Mail app. So
Okay.
it's and this can either be on a Mac or an iPhone. So this is not just for Mac users.
Okay.
Taken a lot of years, but with Apple's changes that they've made over the past year to Apple Mail, I'm perfectly at peace with it now. I use it exclusively, almost, because
Mm-hmm.
it is really a good app. It's baked into my ecosystem. I'm a hardcore Apple guy, but I still believe that the most rock solid email service on the planet is Gmail. So I monitor about six different accounts. Two of them are mine and four of them are other people's. But and it's hard to argue that Gmail captures more spam than any other email service out there. It's just the
Oh, it's
best.
nuts.
Algorithms are phenomenal. They beat Apple and iCloud in this regard. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't particularly care for the native Gmail UI. It's okay, but I just don't care for it. It's not pretty. The
Mm-hmm.
Apple versions of these apps, I don't care for them either, or the Android. They're just not the same as the Android. They're worse. Android is at least it works. Apple's the UI it just doesn't look right. So
Mm.
according to several reputable estimates, there are 1.8 billion Gmail users out there. And
Mm-hmm.
over 55% of them use Apple Mail, either on an iPhone, iPad, or their Mac to access their Gmail accounts. That's nearly a million or a billion folks. That's a lot of people. So for you 900 million people out there that use Gmail and the Apple Mail app, I found something out recently it's a phenomenal tip. I think you're going to love it. Works on your Mac, your iPhone, your iPad, wherever. One of the Gmail advantages is its use of labels instead of folders, which they work well. All of you know what they are. One of the downsides to using Gmail in any email app other than the Gmail web app or the Gmail app on your phone or Android or whatever is you're relegated to folders instead of labels. But if you happen to have a message thread that you want to save in a particular label in Gmail or a folder in Apple Mail, all you need to do is save that message in the one time to the thread, if it's a thread in that folder. And from then on, every single message in that thread, just simply click on archive. Even though archive means something different in Apple Mail, if you archive it in Apple Mail, it'll go right to that folder that you wanted it to,
Huh.
period. It just learns it. Now, this is something that's pretty new. It's less than a year old, and it's Apple Intelligence. To me, that's a good use of AI. Additionally, but similar, and something that Gmail doesn't do, if you routinely email with a person or business, and let's say I wanted all the email that you and I, Chris, that you and I ever had, all to go to a folder or label called Chris.
Sure.
If I put that in there two times, the second or third time that I move that email from your email address to that folder named Chris. From then on, every time I click on add to folder, it will say, do you want to add that to the Chris folder? That's exactly what it says. And you
Nice.
go, yep, and it's done. So for me, this has been a huge time saver with as many email accounts as I have. It lets me use the email app of my choice, Apple Mail, along with Gmail, which is my preferred email service.
Nice.
I think there are probably a few other things in Apple Mail that are similar that folks haven't discovered yet. It's truly a good app. But that's it. Yep, done.
Awesome.
Yay.
All right. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move us to our pick of the week segment. And before we actually get to this week's pick, I want to take a moment to remind everybody that our show picks are typically hardware, software, and other items of interest that we have individually purchased and we actually use, and we like enough that we want to recommend them to you, our growing listener base. These are not paid advertisements or items that we have any kind of affiliated marketing relationship with. If they were, the editorial policy over at iTechGear.org indicates that we have to go ahead and let you guys know that up front. These are just sincerely things that we believe in, and we want to bring them to you at the end of each show. Why?
Because we
Because
like
we like you.
you.
There you go.
We're
And
getting
this
better.
week, Joel, we are. Joel, you've got the pick this week. What do you got?
So, a few weeks ago, Anchor had this thing. It was directly on their website. I rarely would order Anchor products directly via their website, but I took a gamble. They had a couple different deals. One was a power bank, but kind of like a blind bag. The other was a charger one, and I went for the power bank one.
Mm-hmm.
And the main reason I did that is because there was a chance I could have got a Solex big battery beefy thing. You know, that's normally $3,500 for $50. So, but of course I didn't get lucky enough to get that. So what they sent me was the Anchor power bank. It's a 20,000 milliamp hour power bank. Can produce 87 watts. With a built-in USB-C cable, so you no longer have to have a cable to plug into the bank. It has a nice display on it and a button on it. It's a lot simpler than like the Anchor 737, which I also have. And it's $69.99 via the Anchor website. But if you go to Amazon right now, it is 25% off for $52.49. And this bank can actually actively charge my MacBook, the M4 MacBook that I have. So it will charge it. I have charged it from that bank just as a test from home. So and it works great. It's a nicer one. It's not like, for example, I would not take this on some of my hiking adventures just because it's a lot heavier. But like when I go down to my dad's house for Christmas, it'll be in my bag with me. So it's not a bad power bank. Anchor makes excellent power banks. Oh, and it also included in the blind bag I got. It also included one of their 200-watt USB-C cables with the fabric covering on the side, and it's a very nice cable, and it does charge the MacBook full speed with it'll do either with the built-in cable or when I plug into the USB-C port that's on the top of the battery. So
nice.
And the built-in one will actually both charge things and be charged from the same built-in cable.
Okay.
So if you only ever have to charge one device at any one time, here you go.
And for what it's worth, that's I'm glad to hear your endorsement on that because it's the one I've been looking at. I've never ever bought a power bank. I just never needed one. But there may come a time I need one. And I wanted it to be enough to work with the MacBook Pro that I got, which takes 70 watts. This would work. And
this would work. And
I already had it in my actually in my Amazon wish list.
Yep. The nice thing, it also has a USB-A port, so if you still have like this is something, I have one of the battery banks that I bequeathed to my wife because she needed a new one. Was a RAV Power one that actually, believe it or not, had a lightning port on it that you can charge off the lightning port. Well, she plugged I forget what she was trying to do, but she plugged I know what she was trying to do. She was trying to charge her iPad, but she had a USB-C to Lightning cable, and she plugged that into the Lightning port on this battery bank. No, that didn't work. I'm like, just use it. I'm like, just get the USB-C to USB-C and use that, okay? You have one. So I'm like, oh, she's like, oh, okay. I'm like, but keep that cable though, because you can still plug. Like, I think she still has. I think her iPhone still is USB-C, if I remember right. But in fact, I discovered that the hard way, and she asked me, hey, can you go back home and bring me my cable? And I brought her the wrong one. Oops.
Nice.
But this thing is pretty nice, and like I said, it's got that USB-A cable, so if you still have stuff that charges via micro B or Lightning, you can use that port for that. Or you can get the Lightning to USB, the USB-C to Lightning cable and work it off the USB-C port. So nice little battery pack. I will say it is lighter than the 737 I have. That's a big honking battery, but it is nice, and you can charge up to 2 different USB-C devices with it, just like the 737. So
Nice. So
Yep.
so we've got links here for this direct to anchor.com, and they've got it listed for $69.99. And then you've got an Amazon link as well that's got it for right now at 25% off. So it's down to $52.49 overnight if you're a Prime member. So not too bad.
Nope.
Not
And
too bad at all.
I fully believe that there's no such thing as having too many power banks.
You know, I hear you. I hear you.
If you have a use case.
This
yeah.
is true. This is true.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So there you go. And that, kids, is the show. This has been the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 150. If it ain't got freaking Android Auto in it. Recorded live Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, live from iTechGear Central for our missing Mr. Chris Gavula, Brother Joe McLaughlin, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. I want to say, hey, we will see you next time.